going to call the meeting for Akron City Council to order. At this time, we'll have our clerk read the roll.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Holland.
Aye.
Hamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Mosley.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
All members are present.
At this time, we will be led in prayer by Pastor Marissa Saunders. Immediately following our prayer, we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Kamer.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. Let's bow our heads in a word of prayer. Oh, Lord, we just thank you for another day that we're able to see, and thank you for allowing us to get to this part of our day safely. Lord, we just invite you in to this meeting. I pray for every council person under the sound of my voice, male, female, however you have created them, Lord, we lift them up to you today. I pray that you would be with them in this meeting. Father, every big decision, Lord God, that has to be made, I pray today that you would be with them. I pray, oh God, that you would show them wisdom and discernment of how to lead the city, Father. Thank you for their lives and thank you for their leadership. Father, I pray that they would know how appreciative we are to have men and women serving our city. I pray that you'll be with them, that you'll lead them and guide them. We pray for our mayor. We pray for every person that is in the intricate details of our city. Be with us. In Jesus' name we pray. We thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And I forgot to mention, Pastor Saunders is with the House of the Lord. So thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
I pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag of the United States of America
and
and
to the republic
for
which
which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
The minutes from our previously held meeting have been provided. Are there any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Councilwoman Mosley, would you second that motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Holland.
Aye.
Hamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Mosley.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
The minutes pass 13-0.
Before you, you have a copy of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve consent.
We have a
Second.
motion on the floor and we got a second by Councilwoman Amobian. Roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Holland.
Aye.
Hamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Mosley.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
The consent agenda passes 13-0.
We do have two public hearings scheduled for this evening. We're going to ask our clerk to read in item number 1.
Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, October 4th, 2021, during the regular council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to rebuild a gas station and convenience store at 2129 South Main Street.
Mr. Antonucci,
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. Speedway LLC is seeking approval to reconstruct an automobile service station and convenience store at the northeast corner of South Main Street and East Waterloo Road. Petitioner recently acquired the adjacent property to the east, a former auto repair shop on East Waterloo. That structure, as well as the current Speedway store, would be raised in order to redevelop the lot with a new modern gas station and convenience store. The store would be situated in the same general vicinity on the lot, meeting all setback requirements as the current. The current canopy with 5 pump islands would be replaced with a wider canopy covering 8 islands. A single row of 26 parking spaces would be provided, and sidewalk access from Main Street would provide pedestrian access to the convenience store. Signage would consist of a single goalpost double column pole sign, 29 feet 5 inches in height. The pole sign would feature the Speedway logo atop 3 lines on electronic changeable copy for the fuel pricing. Additional signage for store programs would be at the bottom, with plans showing 8 feet of clearance below. As a whole, the proposed redevelopment of the Speedway service station and convenience store would be an attractive addition to the Firestone Park neighborhood, although the traffic engineer does recommend maintaining the 10 feet of clearance for the pole sign as required. The reduction in the number of curb cuts and their relocation further from the intersection would increase safety and reduce congestion. An objective of the land use and development guide plan is to promote good design standards for buildings, signage, and parking areas. The new configuration of the Speedway store would provide better circulation to, from, and within the property. Both Planning Commission and planning staff recommend approval subject to conditions. Thank you.
thank you so much. I do believe our petitioners are online with us. Do we have Jake Miller, Glenn Wolf, or John Barron?
Yeah, John Barron's here tonight.
Okay, John, I'm just going to ask that you be sworn in by a member of our law department, then you can bring forth some comments.
Sure.
Okay, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth? If so, please answer, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Barron?
Okay. So basically, we kind of did a presentation earlier this afternoon, but I can kind of recap. Mike pretty much hit on all the main points. At least I was going to go over that. There's existing 5 pumps that we're proposing now, 8 pumps with 16 fueling positions. There's going to be no CFLs, commercial fueling lanes, just auto only. The fuel truck will enter Waterloo Road and exit South Main Street. As far as from a circulation standpoint, as you can see in the CR plan, if you have the plans in front of you. If you need me to share my screen at any point, just ask me and I can do that. As far as existing curb cuts, there's a total of 7 existing curb cuts. I believe that there's 5 along Waterloo Road, including the adjacent property that Speedway is looking to purchase, and then two on South Main Street. We're proposing 3 curb cuts as far away from the intersection as you can get. We would have a full access along Waterloo Road, and then 2 full access on South Main Street. So that would be, from a circulation standpoint, that's what we would be looking at. We're here for obviously a conditional use hearing, meaning that there's a small portion of the property that's zoned U1. That's one of the reasons why this bumps us into conditional use. Otherwise, obviously, there's an existing gas station located on the property. Some of the variances we're requesting this evening would be a 35-foot max driveway. I think the requirements are 25 feet, so we're requesting 10 feet, and that's for circulation for larger box trucks and fuel trucks and things of that nature. We'd be requesting 2 to lower the sign by 2 feet. Speedway's typical signage is 8-foot clearance. So we didn't think that was super unreasonable. So we would also request that with our variances. There's a total of 330 square foot that's allowed, and we're proposing 443.63, and that includes all the pumps, the Speedway typical logo, the goalpost sign, really their typical package that provides, that they use in pretty much almost all their stores that they're building nowadays. And then number 4 would be the Pricer sign. The height maximum in the ordinance is for the lettering is 14 inches, and we'll be proposing 18 inches. We believe that gives a reasonable, it's a reasonable height that you can see safely as you're, coming in and looking at the fuel price. It doesn't flash, doesn't move. It's, it's a stagnant price that would only change as the gas prices change. And then the last thing would be is that we would be requesting a variance for the deciduous trees along the frontage, and that's due to the easement and general constraints in the front of the site. Now we are proposing the staggered shrubs in the front. And as we talked earlier, I think there's six trees that we're removing in the front. That's due to sign visibility and just to create a safer in and out for folks. That way it's not obstructing the line of sight. And we're proposing a total of 22 trees, 16 that are, kind of located at the rear of the site, to shield against the residential property. We also created a mound with our grading. It's like a 3-foot mound to kind of protect that area. That way, any shining lights, it'll help with the residential neighbor that's adjacent to that. And then there's 6 other trees kind of scattered throughout the site that we felt, would replace in nature of what's existing today. So that's pretty much all I have. Kind of recapping what we talked about earlier. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions or concerns you guys may have tonight.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Barron. We did not have anyone who signed up to speak against this ordinance. So we're going to close our public hearing. Councilman Fusco, what is the pleasure of the committee?
I'd like to pull the committee for a favorable report with suspension of the rules.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Thank you. Connor?
Aye.
Baylor?
Aye.
Kamer?
Aye.
Mosley?
Aye.
Thank you. The report of the committee is favorable, and we're asking for passage this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. Councilman Fusco, do you have any further comments?
Just that we had a very robust and good discussion here this afternoon. I know Council Representative Kamer has been involved with this from the beginning. The plan looks very solid. There's 18 conditions that we have recommended that they've agreed to. And so therefore we're recommending approval this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Holland,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, October 4th, 2021, during the regular council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish automobile sales at 1482 South Main Street.
Mr. Antonucci?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. Hexagon Investments LLC is seeking permission to establish used car sales within this property, which is partially zoned retail business use district and is within the Firestone Park redevelopment area. In 1987, the prior owner was granted a conditional use to conduct major truck repair and to construct a 3-bay addition onto the rear of the gas station. The petitioner intends to lease the retail zone front of the building with its 2 garage bays to SJ Motorworks. The petitioner further stated that they intend to repair some of the sections of pavement and repaint the former gas station building. Planning staff's of the opinion that the proposed use will lead to overcrowding, blight, and oversaturation. The proposed location contains only 12,000 square feet of area, and the proposed used car lot would be at a highly visible intersection. An existing auto sales business is located within the same block as the proposed use. Furthermore, there are 6 additional used car lots along South Main Street from Cole Avenue South to Waterloo Road. The planning staff is of the opinion that there are more suitable commercially zoned locations to establish used auto sales. It does not support this request. Both planning staff and planning commission recommend disapproval. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We did not have anyone who signed up to speak in favor or against this ordinance. Councilman Fusco, what is the committee's pleasure?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, President Somerville. I'd like to pull the committee for an adverse report. Connor?
Aye.
Baylor?
Aye.
Kamer?
Aye.
Mosley?
Aye.
Thank you. The report of the committee is adverse this evening. We're asking for suspension of the rules.
Okay. Thank you so much. Councilman Fusco, did you have any more comments before we go for a vote?
Just that it was Mr. Antonucci described the reasons and logic behind the adverse report. No one showed up today to kind of comment, the petitioner in particular. And I know Mr. Kamer and I have spoke about this, and that he does not believe this is in the best interest of the community. So therefore, we're recommending disapproval or an adverse report.
Thank you so much. So the committee's report is adverse. So we're going to do a roll call on an adverse report.
Baylor?
Aye.
Connor?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Fusco?
Aye.
Holland?
Aye.
Kamer?
Aye.
Lombardo?
Aye.
McKittrick?
Aye.
Mollett?
Aye.
Mosley?
Aye.
Neal?
Aye.
Amobian?
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
The motion for an adverse report passes 13-0, and this ordinance will be filed.
Okay, thank you. Before we move on to the rest of our old business, I'm going to ask if we can take one item out of order. We have our very own Ken Babby online with us, who is the owner of the Rubber Ducks. And so we can have our clerk read in item number 3 under Parks and Rec.
This is offered by Mayor Horrigan, Councilman Fusco, and Councilman Lombardo. Resolution congratulating the Akron Rubber Ducks team owner Ken Babby, general manager Jim Vander, and team managers and coaches for winning the 2021 AA Northeast League Championship Series, and for all of the team's accomplishments in 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Councilman Neal?
Yes, Madam President. I'd like to defer comment to the two of the sponsors, Councilman Lombardo and Councilman Fusco, please.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Babby. You got to tell everyone that this is nothing new, right? This is championship number 6. I don't know if there's any other AA baseball teams that have had 6. You can comment on that, but I guess without sounding like an ESPN sideline reporter, what was the mindset of your team when you were down 5-0 in the 8th inning? You're about ready to sweep, but can you talk a little bit about that? Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us tonight to council, and much prefer to be in person, as I know we'll be back to doing soon. But simply this championship and this victory on behalf of Ruglis Odor and Jim Fander and the incredible front office of the Akron Rubber Ducks would not be possible without our amazing fans and fans we had back in 2021 after a canceled season, after a year with no fans at Canal Park. We were just elated to be back, opening up those gates and playing baseball in 2021. Who could have imagined that the year would have been capped off on an incredible night under the lights at Canal Park with a great crowd, defeating the Bowie Bay Sox, the AA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles, and taking home our championship. So what a spectacular feat for our team. I want to congratulate Ruglis Odor, of course, the Cleveland Indians, and all of our fans. And we cannot wait to celebrate with everybody back at Canal Park in April of 2022.
Wonderful. So I see Councilman Fusco's hand.
Thank you, President Somerville. Congratulations, Ken, to you and the team. The thing of it is, though, over the years, especially the last few years, like I said, what a great place for in downtown that we have. And, you know, not only you're the team owner, but a business person too. And you've invested quite a bit into our canal park, and we really appreciate it, and a great place to go and take the family. And we appreciate your investment in Akron. Thanks for everything that you've done, Ken. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Fusco. And I just want to say, you know, public-private partnerships work. And roughly 10 years ago, when I appeared before this council, and you and your peers unanimously voted to approve our ownership of the team here in Akron, you know, it was a tremendous, you know, a tremendous sign of faith, and we have every moment from that day forward tried to live up to our expectations in making downtown Akron a better place to work, live, and play. And we'll continue that work thanks to your help. On Monday, we begin our seat renovation project. Over 7,000 seats will be removed from Canal Park as our brand new seats, thanks to this council's support, will begin as a part of many other projects this offseason as we get ready for 2022. A continued reinvestment from our incredible city, and we'll keep doing our part to build a great business for our fans as you have continued to invest in us. And so with that, championships will continue. And thank you so much for honoring our incredible team. On behalf of our whole front office staff down at the ballpark, we say thank you.
Thank you, Ken. If I could, just one more last comment. You've exceeded expectations, Ken. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Councilman Malik.
Thank you, Madam President. Just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. It really is every person who works for the Rubber Ducks organization who makes it a portable family fun and who really brings that spirit. And you see that when you go to games. So really appreciate that, Ken. And hopefully maybe we can get those old seats for our council chambers. So let's look into that.
I love it. Hot dogs and beer, probably not a good idea, but seats we can discuss. Thank you, Councilman Mack.
Councilman Neal, what is the committee's pleasure?
Madam President, committee's report is favorable, and we ask for a suspension of the rules.
Are there any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended. Councilman Neal, any further comment from you before we vote?
No, echo everybody. I just, Ken, I'm amazed at just the way you've embraced the city. I forget where you came from. I want to say Milwaukee, but I may be wrong. But wherever you came from, I'm glad you're here because you've been a blessing to our community.
I'm not sure where I've come from anymore either, Councilman Neal, but Washington, D.C. is the answer. And we're really proud to call Akron home. And it's hard to believe it's been 10 years, but it's the incredible work of our staff that wakes up every day, even in the dead of winter, to make this a better destination for our fans that makes Akron. In fact, Sports Business Journal ranked in 2020 Akron one of the top 10 destinations for minor league sports in the country. Last I checked, the Rubber Ducks were the only minor league team in Akron. And so we'll give tremendous credit where it's due to each of you, to our city, our fans, and of course, our amazing staff.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much. So again, Ken, thank you and congratulations to you and the team. So we do have a motion on the floor. Our rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable.
It would make that council and mayor and council as a whole.
Yep. So we have a motion on the floor for mayor and council as a whole. Can we get a second?
Second.
All right. We got multiple seconds. Great. Roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Guy.
Fusco.
Aye.
Holland.
Aye.
Hamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Mosley.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Homobian.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Passes 13-0.
Thank you so much. So now we'll move back into our old business and we will start with budget and finance. I know we do have a substitute, so our clerk will read in that item.
The substitute offered as an amendment offered by Mayor Horrigan and President Somerville. Ordinance authorizing Mayor Horrigan or his designee to accept, encumber, and expend funds allocated by the U.S. Treasury under the American Rescue Plan Act from the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund in the areas of community and youth violence prevention, housing, public utility support, local economic recovery, parks and public spaces, access to healthcare and social services, and budget stabilization, authorizing the Director of Finance or his designee to establish the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 ARPA Fund and related actions, all in order to turn the tide on the COVID-19 pandemic, assist Akron residents hardest hit by the resulting economic and social crisis, prevent direct rate or tax increases on Akron residents and workers, create and maintain jobs in small businesses, improve public spaces and housing conditions in Akron neighborhoods, curb the rise in homicides, invest in the lives of Akron youth at greatest risk of violence, and lay the foundation for a strong and equitable recovery for the entire Akron community and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman,
It is requested to refer this item.
this item will be referred. Planning and Economic Development, Councilman Fusco.
Sarah, could you please read it? Are you talking about the old agenda or the new agenda?
Old agenda, please.
Old agenda, thank you very much. The request of committee is for time on 3 through and including 11. The request of the committee is then to file items 12 and 13. Those are the petitions for the 2 conditional uses that we just voted on. And then time on the balance of the agenda. Thank you.
You're welcome. Time will be granted. Public Safety, Councilman Kamer.
Time, please.
Time will be granted. That concludes our old business. We'll move into new legislation.
Item number 1, offered by Fusco, ordinance authorizing the Director of the Department of Planning and Urban Development to enter into an agreement or agreements with local agencies to carry out the Emergency Solutions Grant Program for program year 2021, all in furtherance with Mayor Horgan's objective of supporting local emergency and transitional homeless shelters to provide shelter and supportive services to homeless individuals and families, and to prevent an individual or family from moving into an emergency shelter through housing relocation and stabilization services, authorizing payment therefore and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco.
Yes, thank you. The report of the committees is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
Are there any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you. We had a good conversation this afternoon. I see Ms. Tomic is online here in case there's any questions above and beyond from this afternoon. But this is our allocation for the ESG funding from the federal government in reference to the Emergency Solutions Grant Program. This is to provide homeless prevention and rapid housing assistance to families and individuals on the verge of entering the homeless system. And so there's 6, I believe, or 7 organizations here that are going to be 6 organizations that are going to be funded. Everything from operating and services. Everyone should have received the documentation today. And so therefore with actually Friday, this past Friday. So with that, and time is of the essence on this particular item. And so we're asking for passage this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Holland.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Mosley.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This passes 13-0. Item number 2, offered by Mosley, ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into a contractor contract after publicly advertising for bids for temporary concrete installation over excavations of the divisions of water distribution and sewer maintenance prior to final pavement surface repairs by the Division of Highway Maintenance, approving specifications therefore and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Mosley.
Thank you, Council President. We are asking for consent agenda, please.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda. We have already addressed our Parks and Rec piece, so that concludes our new legislation for this evening. We will now go to the portion of our meeting that we refer to as our public comment period. We're just going to wait a few minutes just to make sure that everyone who has signed up to participate during our public comment period has come into the room. And it looks like we have everybody. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do, just take yourselves off of mute before you bring forth your comments before this council. I'm just going to ask that you be sworn in by a member of our law department.
Okay, those wishing to make comment, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth? If so, please answer I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you so much. You can place yourselves back on mute. When I call your name, please give us your address. You will have 3 minutes to speak to this body. Speakers are reminded that this is an official meeting. Remarks should be kept respectful and germane to council business. Anyone who breaches decorum will be ruled out of order and may be dismissed off of our live call here, okay? So at this time, when you hear your name, you can take yourself off of mute and you can begin with your comments. Do we have Mrs. Ideen on with us? Is Mrs. Ideen on the call with us?
There is no one left in the waiting room, Madam President, but I do not see anybody signed in with that name.
Okay. Catherine Felty?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hi.
Do I start?
You can, Catherine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Catherine Felty, and my address is 415 Merriman Road. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening to the proposed ordinance authorizing Mayor Horrigan or his designee to accept, encumber, and expend funds allocated by the U.S. Treasury under the American Rescue Plan Act from the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. As a social scientist who has studied citizen participation in local public administration, I have some concerns about the concentration of decision-making at the mayor's level in regards to the opportunities this funding makes possible for our community. First is the question of best decision-making practices. As I and my co-authors demonstrated in an award-winning article on the roles of citizens and leaders in authentic community decision-making, the success of any given community response to a public issue hinges on diverse and representative citizen involvement. But that involvement requires a shift from just allowing citizens to speak to recognizing the value added by incorporating different perspectives in the decision-making process. Authentic participation of both leaders and citizens involves including citizens in the making of decisions, not just in judging the outcome. As one person in our study in Northeast Ohio told us, it is the making and the doing, not the judging, where change occurs. Second, I was part of the University of Akron research team facilitating focus groups on the public safety project. I also helped analyze that data. A striking outcome was the recognition that positive community level changes require all of us, not just people at the top deciding what is best for the community as a whole, or only including advisors or experts in consultation to make those decisions. Fortunately, we don't have to include every single citizen in this process. We have a very capable city council who can be the voice of the citizens they represent. I urge the council to be involved in the process of prioritizing and distributing funds from the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Felty. Timothy Anderson, Jr.
I'm actually here for Timothy Anderson.
Okay.
My name is Jamil Henderson. I'm the CFO of the Fallen Fathers. And I would just like to say I'm in support of legislation to allow the administration to spend the American Rescue Act Fund, equity and transparency in our community. Plan that the mayor has laid out will improve the lives of Akronites for generations to come.
Thank you so much, Jamil, for sharing. Rochelle?
There we go. Sorry about that. I couldn't seem to get myself off mute. I'm Rochelle Studio. I'm the president and CEO of Habitat for Humanity in Summit County. And I'm here to speak this evening in support of the ARPA application for several of the priorities of which overlap with programs that Habitat for Humanity currently offers in our communities. Those include both the public utilities portion, the parks and public places, the access to healthcare and social services, as well as housing, especially.
Rochelle, it's really hard to hear you. You're going in and out. Going in and out. Can you hear us?
Affordable housing construction opportunities, as well as the housing rehabilitation grants for qualified homeowners. So with our new construction programs, we have built over 200 homes in Akron since we were founded in 1986. We have done over 145 critical home repairs since 2015. Okay, I can. Is that better if I turn my camera off?
Yeah, you're going in and out.
Better with the camera off?
I can hear you really clear right now.
Can you hear me better with my camera off?
Yes, I can hear you clear now. You can finish, yes.
No? Yes?
Yes, can you hear us?
Let me see here.
I can hear you.
Let me try again. Can you hear me now with my camera off?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I can hear you right now. Okay, so I'm gonna leave my camera off. That sometimes is the issue. If that's permissible.
That's
okay,
fine.
I'm gonna leave my okay, I'll leave my camera off. Yes, I can. Okay. Okay, so again, the building of new construction homes, of which also has included the partnership we've had with the Akron Rubber Ducks for the 50-50 partnership. Fans in this community have raised over $160,000 for the building of new homes. We have been involved in the renovations of Boss Park, which is a City of Akron park, as well as the financial coaches with the Financial Empowerment Center, helping to qualify families for the homeownership program. And the Aging in Place program, we recently started to support minor plumbing repairs, things like comfort height toilets, as well as grab bars and tub cuts and other accessibility features. So we do support many of these priorities as they overlap with Habitat programs and our neighborhood network involvement in some resident surveys that have taken place in both Middlebury and University Park. We have both led as well as participated in those surveys. And of course, housing and home repairs has always funneled to the top. So again, I'm just speaking in support of the allocation of funds under several of these programs that overlap with Habitat. And Councilmember, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Rochelle, for sharing. Tina Boyce. Is Tina on with us? We'll move on to Dan Rice.
Thank you very much, Council President and members of council. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you this evening to speak in favor of the ordinance authorizing Mayor Horrigan to enter into the contract regarding the American Rescue Plan dollars. We are very excited about this opportunity to partner with the city of Akron regarding the Reimagine Civic Commons projects at both Lock 3 and Summit Lake. As council is very well aware, we've been working on these projects for the past 7 years, and we are really reaching a point here of kind of the fully funding both of these projects. These projects are based upon resident-led work and how might we create accessible, equitable, and welcoming parks, trails, and public spaces for everybody. And we have actually several residents here on the line who actually will be speaking to that as well. So we really appreciate your support and urge council to pass that ordinance so that we can actually fully fund these projects and move on to the implementation, because we're right now in the planning stages for both Lock 3 and Summit Lake. We'd be happy to come back and give council an update. The Highland Canal Summit Lake Trail will actually hopefully be under construction either in the fourth quarter or the first quarter of 2022. And I could be happy to give council an update regarding the planning process for both of these great public spaces. But again, thank you for this opportunity to be here with you this evening and speak in favor of the ordinance, and really for your tremendous support for Akron Civic Commons and our resident-led work. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rice. Mr. Hassan? Is Mr. Hassan on with us?
I think it's Tuka Hassan. I think she's a female councilwoman.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no wonder you did not respond. My apologies.
No problem.
Mrs. Hassan. Thank you.
I'm a resident. I live in Akron, Ohio, 1481 Overlook Drive. I've moved here around the Summit Lake neighborhood just 6 years ago or 4 years ago, something like that. I've been a long resident of Akron. I grew up here, went to Akron Public Schools. The city means a lot to me. And, I remember a lot of childhood memories at Lock 3, going to spend, holidays, winter break, a lot of activities in downtown. I think a lot of benefit could come from approving this ordinance and getting the money to Lock 3 and Summit Lake Park, whatever the mayor's vision is for this. I think it'll help benefit generations down the line after, a lot of us are gone. So thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Joseph Hessler? Is Joseph online with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Oh, good evening. I'm Joe Heisler. I'm in Ward 1. Just had some observations and comments of reading about these funds. One of my observations were I didn't see any explicit or indicated actions for COVID-19 specifically. I know that some of it is implied or in the background, but I didn't notice any actions directly for COVID-19 and any budgetary items against it or any values. The second observation I had was in sections 5 and 6 of the ordinance had mentioned funds and sub-funds. So I just had some concerns over the language about movement of money between the funds, how frequently and how much, and is there a limit to that? So I just needed if there could be some more clarity and understanding what that means and what they plan on doing with that action item. Another one was also read tonight was the information and clarity, at least for me, is needed over the line to prevent tax increase. That made me raise my eyebrow when I saw that line, because I didn't know how that was involved in this particular ordinance. And another item was I was just concerned why the funds were just going through the executive route and basically going around the city council. And so why wasn't it going through the normal budgetary items that I normally hear during these meetings or participate? We see budgetary items to, different sets of equipment or different things needed in the city. but items pertaining to this ordinance will not go through that process. So I had some concerns about that. So I just want to close that. I think the mayor and his team and the city council should work together as the executive and legislative branches in order to execute these ARPA funds. So I just wanted to share my comments tonight.
Joe, thank you so much. And we will make sure that someone gets back in contact and answers all of your questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Richard Rogers.
Good evening. Thank you, Council, for the time tonight. I wanted to speak in favor of the mayor's funding plan for the ordinance to move forward the American Rescue Plan funding. I live at 538 Woodside Drive in Akron. I'm in my 67th year as a resident of Akron. I was born here. I have really fond memories of downtown in my youth. And there was a lot of interest and activity in downtown at that time. And I'd like to see Akron regain some of its former glory. And I think the funding for Lock 3 will do that. And I would encourage you to support the mayor's plan tonight. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rogers. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correct. Anu?
It's Anuj.
Anuj, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. It's really fascinating to be part of this process. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this voice, part of this participation. I work for North Hill Community Development Corporation. Right, so we do a lot of work with a lot of diverse populations in North Hill, including entrepreneurship, economic empowerment, economic development, and that kind of thing, right? So today I am generally calling in to show my support for this legislation to pass through. And I understand some of the comments that have been made in regards to public participation and democratic participation. And I respect that, and I hope that that's taken into consideration. But on the other side of the coin, I hope people also understand that a lot of us are working really hard to represent our communities, to do the best job we can in representing the diverse populations that we have in North Hill, Akron, and Ohio. So hopefully you can take that into consideration. Having said that, I just wanted to express my support for the legislation to be approved by, for the American Rescue Act dollars to be dispensed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anuj. Frank Williams.
Good evening. I'm Frank Williams, Executive Director of Williams Challenge Man-to-Man Fatherhood Initiative. I am in support of the legislation to allow the administration to spend the American Rescue Act funding equitably and transparently in our community. The plan that Mayor Horgan has laid out will improve the lives of Akronites for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Williams. Kyle?
Hi, excuse me. Hi, thanks for letting me speak tonight. My name is Kyle Potensi. I'm the Executive Director with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And I just want to express my support of the legislation to allow the administration to spend the American Rescue Plan funding equitably and transparently in our communities. And I think the plan that's laid out will improve the lives of Akronites in the community. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyle, for sharing. Jerome Moss.
Yes, thank you, Madam President and Council, for allowing me to voice my support for the American Rescue Act funding. I am in support of the legislation to allow the administration to spend the American Rescue Act funding equitably and transparently in our community. The plan that has been laid out will improve the lives of Akronites for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moss. Steve Millard.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Millard. I'm the president and CEO of the Greater Akron Chamber on 388 South Main Street. We work closely with businesses of all sizes to help increase investment and employment that they bring to the region. I'm here to speak in support of the mayor's plan for allocation of rescue plan resources We think these resources being considered tonight are important for systemic investment in areas of the city that are critical to people and the companies that call Akron home. Given our work, there are two projects I want to specifically address tonight that we are interested in as proposed investments. First, a project around providing support for retailers downtown. We know downtown is an anchor not only for the city's economy, but also for the region. A vibrant downtown attracts businesses and consumers and creates the kind of amenities that allow us to compete for business, talent, and consumer spending. A couple months ago, I happened to be standing on the corner of Bowery and Main in the late morning with a prospective retailer who was excited about the progress our Main Street has made, but noticing our empty streets, he asked the tough question, where are the people that my business is going to rely on? I had very little to respond with to reduce his concern about making a lease commitment in the face of an uncertain recovery timeline. And because our businesses have choices, we have to know that as we look at the slow recovery of retail and a slow return of employees to our downtown, we have to do all we can to encourage businesses to make the investments that are going to accelerate the pace of that recovery and do that now. So the Main Street Retail Draft Program is a pretty innovative approach to telling companies that we're willing to support their investment in our downtown and helps to hedge some of the risks that they're going to take to come in and make commitments downtown. So we want to be able to extend those programs to companies. A second program of interest to us is the Business Mentorship Program, proposed to specifically help underrepresented and minority businesses in the city of Akron. In 2020, when we saw the disparities that were happening from COVID relief through Paycheck Protection Program, EIDL, other programs out there, we did some research along with the county and the city and other partners and really found some interesting things. While all of our businesses were significantly challenged, minority-owned businesses had a more significant gap in access to help and support. 71% told us that they struggled to access help, complete applications, and financial support for assistance. But among non-minority businesses, only 43% indicated they had similar difficulty. It's a 30-point gap. 60% of disadvantaged businesses report a lack of an active relationship with a banker. Only 19% of non-minority businesses had that same concern. So this lack of access to ready help and support is exactly the kind of gap that these mentoring programs are going to target. And we think the mentoring is going to help provide access to financial education, consultation, and regular conversations with other owners and experts. So as we look at creating prosperity for everyone, we encourage support of this program around small business and minority business mentorship that's included in the plan. We appreciate your consideration of these programs and urge you to take action to approve these projects in support of our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Millard. Brian Lapola.
Hi, good evening, Council. This is Brian Lapola, Vice President over at Akron Children's Hospital at 1 Perkins Square. Here tonight to talk with this group about the support we would like to make for this ordinance to release the American Rescue Plan funds to support the legislation. Reimagining Lock 3 as an exceptional event in park space is essential to revitalizing downtown Akron as a true urban neighborhood. As a major employer and adjacent property owner to Lock 3, we believe that this will become a destination for Akron Children's Hospital associates, as well as a refuge for our patients and families as they go to the Children's Play Loop, the Children's Museum, and then over to Lock 3. With the Akron Civic Commons 2.0, Lock 4, and Summit Lake Parks, we are creating an accessible, equitable, and welcoming park, trail, and open spaces along the Ohio Erie and Canalway Towpath Trail, while still leveraging significant amounts of private, local, state, and federal resources. Everything that we do here at Akron Children's Hospital, we like to say is designed through the eyes of a child. And I want to thank the city, the mayor, as well as Dan Rice's leadership in supporting the stakeholder involvement so that this transformation in the city of Akron can be impactful for all future generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bridget Ambrisco. Is Bridget online with us? Okay. Stacy. We don't have Stacy online with us. Howard Parr.
Hello, everybody. My name is Howard Parr. I both live downtown at 21 Fergus Street and work downtown at the Akron Civic Theater. I'm here to speak to the American Rescue Plan uses and appreciate the opportunity to do so. Particularly, I'm interested in the work at Summit Lake, the investment in Summit Lake and in Lock 3, I was fortunate enough to be involved in the early planning of the Civic Commons and have found that a foundation of the work, and particularly relevant at Summit Lake, has been community involvement in terms of the planning there. And I think it's really critical that we look at the investment of public dollars, even rescue plan public dollars, in terms of their ability to leverage private sector support and investment. And that's exactly what's happening both at Summit Lake and particularly at Lot 3. And also the importance of Lot 3. If we're going to have a situation downtown, there's no silver bullet. We just heard earlier from Ken Babby, who is doing a lot to help downtown become vital. And also the Civic Theater obviously does that, and Children's Hospital does that. But as we look towards the future, we know that a lot of folks are not going to be returning to the corporate entities that are downtown. And so we have to look towards the things that are growing, which are both residential and the connection to the University of Akron, both of which are supported by an exceptional park at Lot 3. So those are the reasons why I think it's extremely important that this investment happen in those areas.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parr. Demetrius Lambert.
Stacey Gianmarco here.
Faulkner.
Stacey Gianmarco.
What was that?
Stacey Gianmarco on behalf of Red Oak Behavioral Health.
Oh, is it Stacey?
11 West Market Street.
I'm Chair, yes, I think this was the person previous that we didn't hear from when you first called her name.
Okay. Stacey, can you hear us?
Yes, I apologize. I was muted and didn't get unmuted in time before you went to the next person. So.
Did you want me to wait?
Yes, Demetrius, if you can wait. Stacey, you can proceed.
Thank you so much. I am just calling in tonight in support of the legislation to allow the administration to spend the American Rescue Act funding equitably and transparently in our community. As many have mentioned before, the plan Mayor Horgan has laid out will improve the lives of Akronites for generations to come. And in addition, the funding needs to be released immediately so organizations like Red Oak Behavioral Health can enhance mentorship programs to help keep the youth out of trouble and from committing violent crimes in our community. I thank you for your time, and again, my apologies for the technical difficulties.
Thank you so much, Stacey. Demetrius?
Greetings, everyone on the council, including Madam Council President. My name is Demetrius Lambert Falconer. I am a resident of 701. I am also a core team member from the Reimagining Civic Commons initiative here at Summit Lake, and I am a mother. So I would like to briefly speak on two different situations. Number one, my support for the American Rescue.
I think we might have lost her. So you can let me know if she comes back on, okay?
I will.
We're gonna move on to Brandon Scarborough.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I am in support of the legislation to allow the administration to spend the American Rescue Act funding equitably and transparently in our community. The plan that Mayor Horgan has laid out will improve the lives of Akronites for generations to come. I say that also because I believe that everyone on this call knows the youth violence issue that we have in our city. And we fully believe that with some extra resources, Dreams Academy, which is the organization that I founded and the executive director for, can be of some assistance to providing youth services and mentorship and opportunities that will help decrease youth violence. We have to give them some extra things to do. We have to give them some resources and opportunities that many of our young men and women, especially our African-American young Black males and Black females, just do not have at this moment. We have to have resources to get these things to them, to provide for them, and do it at a level of excellence and quality that the youth will want to participate in them, and give them options that will hopefully take them off the streets and reduce gun violence, youth violence, just all of it together. So I hope that we can make some headway and do some things and work together and help reduce these things and get our youth back on track. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Scarborough. Demetrius is back on with us. Demetrius?
Okay, let's try this again. Good evening, everyone. My name is Demetrius Lambert Falconer. I'm a resident of 7th Avenue. Tonight, I come before you with a couple different hats that I'm wearing. As many of you know, I have been actively involved in the past 4 to 5 years with the Reimagining Civic Commons in the Summit Lake community. I am also a mother and resident of Akron. So I would like to extend my support for the mayor's plan for the American Rescue Act funds to be released, particularly for the Lot 3 and Summit Lake communities. Similar to what Mr. Scarborough just described, it is imperative that we give the future of our community something to do. It's imperative that we also provide workforce development programs for them, and we can do those within those different years. I would also, as a mother and resident, would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to the council for adding and voting for addition of practice fields in field. We talk about the youth violence, but one of the things that we often don't talk about is providing opportunities that are safe and accessible for our children to be active and learn additional skills such as camaraderie and even just self-care and self-control. And I do believe that adding give other options, additional options to our youth in the community. Thank you. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Demetrius. Jerome? Joe Tucker? Is Joe Tucker online with us? Reverend James Talbert? Sandra Salisbury?
It looks like she is here, Madam Chair. I think she's muted right now. Mrs. Salisbury, do you see somewhere on your screen that looks like a microphone to unmute? If not, I can send you a prompt, but if we press it at the same time, we cancel each other out. So let me, I'll send you a prompt. Do you see something on your screen that says, please unmute? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I actually was kicked off the screen. That's why you couldn't see me or anything. My name is Andrew Salisbury. I'm a resident of Summer Lake community. Also, I'm a Summer Lake CDC co-chair. And I'm in support of this legislature because especially because of the work I've seen done through Akron Civic Commons. I feel that it's a work that's going on right now in this community that have breathed fresh life in the Summit Lake. A few years before they came, there was so much being taken away. There was so much abandonment. And since that process has started, there's a lot coming back to the community, but also it's building relationships within the communities. And I appreciate the fact that Civic Commons has created a program within the community for our young people to work, and not only just work, but they understand that there are some skills that these children lack. You know, how to carry themselves in public and different things, how to act before the mayor, when they meet the mayor and so forth. They're teaching those skills. Also, they're teaching them how to manage their money. They have a program for that, for the children to learn how to manage the money that they earn. They get paid very well, but they're teaching them the right way and the proper way to invest, save money. And I really appreciate that, because in all the 39 years I've been in this community, I've never seen anybody reach out to the youth. I mean, you know, we want to invest in so many things in our community, but a lot of times, as Dee said, you know, we have to invest into the young people, give them some hope, give them a sense of purpose. You know, if we don't help them find those things, then they will find trouble. They will get into criminal activities and stuff. So I've watched these type of programs come about through Akron Civic Commons, and does help, you know, give our community a voice. There are so many people in our community don't believe their voice matter, but when Civic Commons came, they allowed us to see that yes, your voice matter. It has a place, and I want to see that continue on. And I just want to see what was started not to stop. I believe Mayor Horgan valued the Civic Commons process, and I believe that process will continue.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Salisbury. Roger Reed. Is Roger online with us? Pastor Gregory Harrison.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I want to thank all the members of council who voted for repurposing Lane Field. I love Brother Russ, but unfortunately, he has publicly disseminated information that needs to be clarified. The information shared by Councilman Neal during last meeting concerning the operation of the Copley Road Soccer Complex, he has had for 6 years. However, more access to those fields was never granted. More disturbing is the fact that as the chairman of the Recreation Committee, every contract involving Copley Road Soccer Complex comes through his committee for approval. Once we discovered that Mr. Neal had to sign off on those contracts or bring them before you, there was nothing more to be said about the Copley Road Soccer Complex and Akron Inner City Soccer using it. The focus then shifted to finding a home for Akron City Soccer. Akron City Inner City Soccer and the soccer fields at Lane Field and the running track, repairing Lane Field's running track, are not mutually exclusive. They should happen together, and they can happen together. Children from 5 continents play soccer in Akron Inner City Soccer teams. For 9 years, we've been looking for a home. Soccer program is self-sustaining and has been for 21 years. And all they've ever asked for was a home. So when we look at the information that was presented, it was not presented in the right way. It seems like Akron Inner City Soccer got their fields at the cost of someone else not getting the track done. That was not the case. We have lobbied, we have fought, we have looked, and when we found out that we were not going to use Copley Road, then it was time to move on and look for something else. The damage that was done with the Akron Interbelt is being repaired in part by the creation of these soccer fields with the American Rescue dollars. It's really disturbing to hear all of the businesses who are so excited about the dollars coming to Akron. And they should be, but the citizens should be as well. Putting these types of facilities back into our neighborhoods where they were ripped out is justice. So this is what should be happening. We should not have access to recreation facilities outside of our neighborhoods. Facilities should be built in our neighborhoods. I close with, there was a problem at Davenport Park, and the solution was to take the basketball courts out. There was a problem at Firestone Park, and the solution was to take the basketball courts out. There's a problem at Lane Field, and the solution is to build recreation facilities, to give children an opportunity in their neighborhoods. So the solution is a just solution, and I thank you for that. And I think we should do more of this with the American Rescue dollars, is put things back in neighborhoods for underprivileged children. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pastor Harrison. That concludes our public comments for this evening. Again, we want to thank everyone who participated. We'll now go into our committee assignments. All right. Rules. Councilman Freeman.
Yep.
Budget and Finance, Councilman Freeman.
3 p.m.
Planning and Economic Development, Councilman Fusco.
1.
Public Service, Councilwoman Mosley.
2 p.m.
Public Utilities and Green Committee, Councilman Freeman.
45.
Public Safety, Councilman Kamer.
2:15, October 18th.
Parks and Rec, Councilman Neal.
1:45.
Housing and Neighborhood Assistance, Councilman Fusco.
Subject to call.
Health and Social Services, Councilwoman Amobian.
2:30.
Is there anything else coming before council at this time? Councilman Malik?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to briefly say, and like I'm sure all of my colleagues, I have so much respect for the folks who spoke this evening before public comment. So many folks who we know have spent so much of their lives and so much effort in service of our city and making our city a more equitable and stronger place. I just do want to remark on how upside down it is that we have more than a dozen people asking us to approve a plan that has not yet been presented to us in detail. And I mean, really, it's baffling. I went after our committee meeting and walked around a park trying to wrap my head around it. And what I read in the paper, I like. What I hear at the Civic, at State of the City, I like. But I would like to hear about it before I vote on it. And I don't know any simpler way of saying that. So I'm sure there'll be more discussions about that in the weeks ahead. But I hope, I just want to share that.
Thank you so much, Councilman Malik. Councilwoman Mosley?
Thank you, Madam President. I also want to echo the sentiments of Councilman Malik and to also state that I don't want the residents to think that there are certain council members who do not support ARPA dollars coming into our city. And it almost seems like that's what the theme is here. And that could be further from the truth. A lot of those callers who called in and spoke talked about transparency. Well, we just want a transparent government as we're allocating these funds. We're just saying that we want to have a seat at the table when we're talking about allocating funds. No one can tell me the issues that are going on in Ward 5 if they don't live in Ward 5. My issues over here are totally different than the issues over in 6, over in 8, over in 7. Their issues are totally different from those in 3, those in 4. And I appreciate them coming on and saying that we should support the mayor's plan. We have to support the residents who elected us to come here. And that required us to be a part of the conversation, a part of the process, to have a seat at the table. I appreciate all the work that is going into Summit Lake. And when they're done with Summit Lake, it'll be beautiful. I appreciate all the dollars that are going to flow into Lock 3. But my residents over Ward 5 aren't thinking about those dollars. They're thinking about the gunshots that they hear every day. That's what they're thinking about. So being at that table to make sure I'm being a voice for them is important, not only to me, but to them. And so again, I appreciate those callers for calling in and saying that we should support the mayor's plan. And we support these ARPA dollars coming in here. We're just saying that we want to be a voice in the process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Mosley. Councilman Neal?
Thanks, Madam President. Well, I want to speak to Pastor Harrison's point, but first let me speak to, since I put something in the chat, I want it to be public what I put in the chat.
Yes.
And what I put in the chat is that I have respect for the organization speaking on this call tonight, but please understand if they have already been promised money from this administration before council has had a chance to have its input, the testimonies are compromised. And without a doubt, when the city reaches out to organizations to come on and call on this call and speak on behalf and support of the American Rescue Plan dollars, when they coax those testimonies are compromised. So I want to speak to that. Have respect. I think our community has to understand that the legislative body is the one with authority over the budget. You have direct opportunity to address your concerns to those that you elect to represent you in your ward. And so have trust in us. As my colleagues have said, a lot of the plan we believe in. But until we do, as the American Rescue Plan document calls for, which is not only engage council and administration, but the citizens, we have not done our due diligence. Now, to Pastor Harrison's point, hey brother, I love you too. But everybody on this call knows that council does not sign off on any documents. To say that I had to sign off on something for the contracts for soccer fields is a lie. There's no other way to describe it. And I noticed we didn't ask people to give testimony before today's call. And as you stated, Madam President, you know, the only thing that's keeping our children off of those soccer fields is politics. Because children outside of our community played on those fields beforehand. And that politics, you know, politics gets blamed for a lot of things, almost like the devil. People could lie, deceive, cheat, even steal. And it's called, oh, it's just politics. We've seen it in our own local community with some of our corporate partners. We've seen it happen in other things. We see it happen. Hey, politics is almost like alcohol too. In the fact that people will blame politics for their actions, but really just like alcohol, what comes out when someone has too much is their true character. Now, why am I saying that? Last week, I reached out to the mayor and let him know I had conversations within my ward about wanting to name Lawton Street Community Center after Judge Williams. I asked the mayor, what's your opinion? And we communicated through text. So I don't want to misquote the mayor. I want to read his comment in regards to my question. He says, my question to the mayor was, greetings, Mayor. I've been thinking of a way to honor Judge Williams. First thought was to plant a tree, but most recently I've been in communications with the community and getting their opinion about renaming Lawton Street Community Center after Judge Williams. What is our city's process for naming buildings? The mayor didn't recognize my number. He asked who it was. I said, it's Russ Neal. He said, my bad. Let me concrete details and let you know. I'm pretty sure in my terms, we haven't named buildings or parks and streets for sure, but I'll check. And streets for sure, but I'll check. He probably forgot we named a street after Bishop Johnson and after James Ingram. So imagine my dismay when I see the mayor and council president dedicating a street to James Ingram. I called Holly and asked, did I miss some legislation that came through to dedicate a street? She said no. Folks, Council President, I had spoke to you on the 14th. I reached out to you because of the shooting in your ward, let you know that I was working with the police. But because it was your ward, I wanted to give you the respect to let you know that what was going on, where the problem house was. That's what we're supposed to do as colleagues, collaborating and working together. But in your attempt to disrespect me, you disrespected my community. The street that you dedicated is Cadillac, where the Cadillac Neighborhood Development Corporation is. A corporation that invested over $150 million in the city park. They weren't even a part of the discussion. That area where they reside, Dover Street, Mercer, has rich heritage. Rita Dove, Judge Moore, they weren't included in that conversation. You didn't include the Alumni Association, who 2 years ago dedicated the fields to Coach Buckner, Coach Flossie, and Coach Scott.
Excuse me, I'm not sure if you can hear, but the time is up.
Yes, well, I understand, but let me close with this. So when you ask us to trust, when this right here, now I've got the text, I've got the phone documentation. To be lied to, and then if you're gonna lie about something as simple as that, and then you ask us to trust you with something as serious as the dollars that are coming in.
Councilman Neal, I'm going to stop you right there because you made it very clear that you reached out to the mayor on a couple occasions and had a conversation with him. You had not one time picked up your phone to call me about any issues or concerns that you had. You had that opportunity and you didn't do it.
That is
so we're going to move on. Councilwoman Amobian, thank you.
I just want to reassure all of the citizens of Akron that all of the programs I've heard tonight, not one of them I think would be excluded from anything that we deliberated over. They all sound like very fine programs, and all we are asking is that we sit around and talk about how we want to prioritize these dollars, because these all sound like very fine programs for children, for this community, and all of these individuals, most of them I know, and most of them I know they're doing great work. So there's nothing that we're trying to do is to exclude you at all. We're basically saying, let's all sit around and talk about how we're going to prioritize these dollars. So that is what we're asking for. That's what we plan to do. And hopefully we will all agree at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Amobian. Councilman Fusco?
Excuse me. Thank you, President Somerville. I want to thank everyone for coming in tonight and speaking to council. I think we all do a lot better whenever we hear voices from both sides. I think we ascend as a city, and differing opinions is good and healthy for all of us. Respectful. The process is that budgets are prepared by the administration, typically with input from council. Before a budget's presented to council, it's up to an individual council member to go to the administration and say, I'd like to see this project. I'd like to see this project. I'd like to see this organization get some help, get funded, okay? The administrators administrate. So what they'll do is they'll provide us with a budget, okay? That budget then will be presented to council. We will then amend, change. We've done that in the past, and I'm sure we're going to do that in the future. And then ultimately we approve that budget. I can certainly understand the input from, and I think this is just the very, very beginning of this journey that we're going to be taking. And we're going to be hearing in depth, from what I understand, the next several weeks, in-depth dive in terms of what the intentions are on every pile of money, if you will, for lack of a better term, for every pot that we've talked about. So we also have to bear in mind that the charter, state codes, federal codes are going to all have to be utilized, and that's basically our guide. Just this evening, this city council justifiably voted in favor to suspend the rules and approve a budget of over $500,000 for ESG funds with 6 different organizations. These organizations we just saw today, or Friday, excuse me, the organizations that are getting funded. It's basically, in essence, very similar to the process that we're going to be undertaking. It's up to us to go to the administration and say, we'd like to see this, we'd like to see that. That's where the input comes in. And in terms of renaming streets, Mr. Neal, I appreciate your comments, and I can't speak to anything other than whenever streets aren't officially, I don't know if you know this or not, but they're not officially renamed. Streets are basically, it's kind of ceremonial in terms of calling like Main Street LeBron James Way, the James Ingram, and of course, Bishop Joey. Those are all ceremonial. So they're not changing the names of the street, just for the record, wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Fusco. Councilwoman Baylor.
Sorry, I was muted. I would just like to just bring something back that I had heard some time ago about the different wards receiving a certain amount of money to do some work in their specific areas. And I just want to know, were there any proposals from any ward members submitted as to what they wanted to do in their wards? I know that was a big thing, something being allocated, maybe like $100,000 or something to each ward. And did anything come out of that? I don't know, but I just think that, I'm listening to Councilman Fusco, and it is our responsibilities to go to people if we feel like we're not making headway in one way or another, to have a discussion and try to get our answers to questions and things like that. Airing it, at council meeting time and time again, it's not a good look for all of us. If we're leaders in this city, we need to do better about talking to one another about things that we do have questions about, things that we need answers concerning. But personally, I think that nobody is perfect. I think the mayor is doing a great job for the city of Akron with what he has inherited as being mayor. And he is ultimately the leader, and we are leaders in a different sense. So we have to respect one another. We have to respect the mayor, whether we agree with him or whether we do not agree with him. And, we can go and talk to him just like he can come and talk to any of us. And just like the council president, President Somerville, you can go talk to her about things before you just air it. Just an example, like with school board, a lot of people like, oh, you guys are rubber stamp. No, we had our discussions in private. When we went in an executive session, we had it out, but we came out as a united front with an answer to the public. But we didn't just air our dirty laundry out there, just put it out there every week. That's just not the way you lead. That's not leadership. Leadership is working together for common goals and helping the people that we serve. So we just need to do a better job about getting along. We need to respect the mayor. We shouldn't browbeat anybody. None of us should browbeat each other, and we shouldn't browbeat the mayor. We're here to work with the administration, and the administration is here to work with us. So we need to work it out, whatever it takes, and do a better job at this. This is not good for the public to see us always, week after week, going through this. Let's stop it. And let's just, get together and talk and reason together and get this thing settled and work it out the way that is going to help everybody involved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Baylor. Councilwoman Connor.
I just want to say that There's been a lot of talk tonight. I certainly appreciate everybody coming down and sharing their words with us. But this is a lot of money and it needs to help a lot of people. You know, we are not just 10 wards, we are 24 neighborhoods. That's a lot of people. Some of them more advanced than others, maybe with CDCs and community groups, and some struggling. But that doesn't mean they all don't need our help. And we as their representatives have an obligation to make sure all 24 neighborhoods see things and see their pieces of hope come out of this money. And if we don't fight to sit at that table and have those conversations and see a list, then we have not done what we've been brought here to do. That's all.
Thank you, Councilwoman Connor. Councilwoman Holland?
I get excited and I'm trying to do too many buttons at once. I just want to echo what Councilwoman Connor said. I feel so passionately about this. Never mind how we personally feel. And this is not a personal disagreement among individuals or personalities, at least not for my part. We started down this road a week ago. This was not a rejection of the idea that we should receive $145 million in federal relief monies. We are all in agreement that this is a great gift, a great blessing. This is indeed unprecedented. And however much we may have passed significant legislation tonight, receiving significant money, nothing that this council or its predecessors have ever received before comes close to this. With such huge numbers comes huge responsibilities. And what I noticed, and perhaps you may have noticed it as well, is that many, if not most, of this evening's visitors used a phrase, and it's one that I like, equitably and transparently. And I want you to hear me when I say from the bottom of my heart, my concerns with the original language of Ordinance 2A, as well as the amended language, which we received 7 minutes before today's budget meeting. My concerns were about the equity and the transparency of the proposed ordinance. So there's a certain irony here. There is no one in this council, in the city, who is against the $145 million chance of a lifetime. There is so much good that can be done here. And there is so much good that has already been done by this council, by this administration. There is no debate as to whether or not we can do good things. Apparently, the debate is how we're going to do it. And I would invite my colleagues to consider what Dr. Felty said. She was our first speaker in the comments tonight. And specifically, she invited us to consider the idea that it is in the making and the doing and not the judging that great things happen. So let's take that home tonight. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. Councilman Neal?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to respond to Councilman Fusco. It's not about the naming of the street. Councilman Fusco, you understand that you respect a person's ward. That's why I spoke of when I was working with the police in President Somerville's ward, I reached out to her. I called her and let her know that I was working in her ward. I reached out to the mayor a week before they dedicated the field to Howard Hewitt. His response to me was, and I wasn't calling about a street, I was speaking about the building, changing Lawton Street Community Center to named after Judge Williams. I've been talking to people in the community. The mayor's reply to me was, I don't know, during my term, we haven't named any buildings or streets. Let me check into it. That was the whole time he was working on the thing with Howard Hewitt. Disrespecting the community that he came from, not have given them input. Now call it what you want to. You could say it was politics. But in a time when we're talking about collaboration, to disrespect and equity, to disrespect a community that has invested heavily with hundreds of thousands of dollars in their community. You may not like me, but respect the position. Respect those who I represent. Now, when I'm talking to you and I ask about naming a building, and your reply is, I don't know, let me check. We haven't named any buildings or streets. That is, call it politics if you want, but that is disrespectful of that office because it's deceitful, misleading. I'll just leave it there. I got the text that shows the conversation. There was no reason for it. No reason for it whatsoever. In a time when we're trying to work together with all this money, and you want me to trust you when over a simple thing about this process, you do what you do.
Thank you, Councilman Neal. Councilwoman Amobian.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that for more than 10 years now that I've been down here, a lot of what we're talking about, we've been asking for. What we need to realize is that there are three branches of government. There's the executive branch, there's legislative, and the judicial. And each branch is equal to the other. So we don't have to develop pet projects and take them to the mayor. What should be happening is that we should have discussions about what we would like to see. And then the administration goes back and bring to us plans based on what we've discussed. It's not that they go somewhere in isolation and come up with a roadmap of how they're going to do something. It should be based on a discussion of these branches talking about, this is the vision that we have. Here are the things we'd like to see. Let's talk about how we like to get there. And that's what we are talking about. So it's not a matter of disrespecting. You know, democracy is not supposed to be pretty. And I don't think it's being disrespectful. I just think we're all expressing our views. And I think everybody has done that respectfully tonight. And we've continued to do that. And I think that we need to get beyond talking about the mayor's plan. It should be a plan of the leadership of this city, which includes the legislative branch. We ought to come up with, ways to sit around and talk about, here's how we would like to see our city. Here's some things. Come back with some nuggets of how we like to see that happen. It's not about you developing a plan in isolation or anybody else. It's about us working together to develop a plan. And these are unusual, unheard of, never to happen again, I know in my lifetime, dollars. And we need to be taking advantage of this and doing the best we can to make sure that the 194,000, 196,000, how many people we have in Akron will benefit from these dollars. And that's what we're talking about, folks. We're not talking about, doing anything else. We're just talking about using the money wisely, talking about how we like to see our city. And there's some key areas that we all agree on. Reducing the violence for sure. We just had our 40th or 41st death over the weekend. Is just unheard of for this city. So that's what I'm talking about. And so I hope that we can get together and go beyond these kind of discussions and feel like we're blaming or telling somebody. And with regard to these organizations that are benefiting from these emergency dollars, these are proven organizations that we have funded year after year after year, and they continue to do good work. So it's easy for us to spend dollars on those organizations. And the rapid rehousing dollars, we got some additional dollars, but the plan has always worked. We can catch people before they become homeless and all kinds of things like that is absolutely wonderful. So let's not talk as if we're doing something brand new here. This is repeated work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for those comments, Ms. Amobi. I think that's where we're all at. We just want to move forward. And I think our goals are all basically the same. It's just a matter of getting there. And we will get there. We will get there. And Mr. Neal, with all respect, Mr. Neal, I was just trying to let you know, we don't rename streets. And if you want to officially rename a street, it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. In my time, we've only renamed one. It's ceremonial, and I apologize if you took it the wrong way, but it's like, I'm just trying to let you know that this is the way it works. and the way we have operated for years and years and years. So I didn't mean any disrespect, Mr. Neal. Thank you.
Councilman Neal, briefly, please.
Yes, ma'am. And no disrespect, Mr. Fusco, I think you're missing my point. My point is the lack of trust, the deception. I was talking to the mayor about renaming a building. And at the whole time he was planning on dedicating a street, didn't engage the residents from that street who have worked closely with the city. And you know that you don't go into a councilman's ward without working with the councilman. The mayor knows, the president knows. But hey, like I said, it shows the character.
Councilman Neal, we get the point. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Has everybody had an opportunity to speak who wishes to do so? I just want us to close on this note. You know, I think now we know more than ever that it is important for us to figure this thing out. We have to work collaboratively together. We've got to work in concert, not only us as a body, but with our residents, with our community partners, and with our community agencies. We heard from them. Again, this money means so much to so many people. We all know that. It means hope. So we have to figure it out. And this process is going to be open. It is going to be transparent. And so that is why we want to announce on tonight, we will hold our town hall conversation on Thursday, October 28th. Again, we want to hear from residents. This body doesn't have all the answers, although sometimes we think we do, right? We want to hear from residents. We want to be able to engage, to really figure out, you know, what is it that we're missing? What conversations have we not brought up? You know, what solutions have not been on the table? So we want to hear from constituents. So we will have our town hall Thursday, October 28th. We will have 2 sessions, one at noon and one at 6 p.m. I know we will release a press release on tomorrow so that we will be able to give the community details in terms of how they can sign up and be a part of those conversations, because we value the voices of our residents. And those are the voices that we need to hear from at this moment in time. Also, I do want to let council know, again, you will play a role in the next 6 weeks to come. We will be having deep dive discussions on every bucket. And we're going to start with the one that's plaguing our community the most, and that is violence. So again, the same energy that we brought to this meeting tonight, bring that same energy to the committee meeting with solutions, with ideas, so that we can figure out how we can invest this money together collectively to make our city a stronger and better place, okay? At this time, do I hear someone saying something? We have a motion for adjournment. If there are no objections, meeting adjourned.
Concludes the live broadcast of Akron City Council. Margot Somerville, President of Council, presiding.